So I've been talking about state of mind in the classroom, meaning our psychological mind. And I really wanted to share with you that once we begin to express the three principles in word, in form, we have to keep it as simple as possible. Because this is the very essence of who we are. This is human life. This is our human vulnerability, frailty, love, everything we are, everything we're made of. And this is about the formless. This is our spiritual essence. And so the minute we begin to put it into form, then it becomes our perception of form. And I really wanted to qualify that for you in this second part. So when I'm talking about state of mind, I'm talking about thought is pure. When thought comes from mind, from God, from whoever that greater intelligence is, from whatever that greater intelligence is, when it comes, it's pure, it's neutral, it's made of love, and that's why it just flows. And it's when we have our personal interpretation of that, that's the place we kind of talk about state of mind. It's our personal psychological thinking at that point in time. And sometimes it takes a while to grasp this. And I think I said in the first video, and if I didn't, I'm going to say it now. You know, this understanding can come in stages, or it can come all at once. And if you're at the beginning of this understanding, and maybe you're getting a bit frustrated because you can't quite put it all together, that's okay, because there's wisdom in misunderstanding as well. That's the way it works. That's the way this system works. There's wisdom in everything. There's mind, there's that greater intelligence, that universal intelligence in everything we do. Misunderstanding, understanding, love, hate, tragedy, sorrow, all of those experiences, those very human experiences, there is that innate resilience, that innate health. It's there. We were born with it. We were given the ability to use divine thought, to use that pure essence of thought, to make it ours. And we were given feelings so that we knew what we were doing with that thought. I know when I feel heavy that I've had some serious thinking going on, some unpleasant thinking maybe. Or maybe I'm reacting to somebody else's thinking. You know, when we're in the classroom and we're managing the behaviour of students, we're managing, the curriculum. Do we know the curriculum? Because we're managing so many different variables, aren't we? And that can have a great deal of influence on our performance. But the one causal factor, the key causal factor for variation of performance is thought. And the good news is, if we create our own thought in that moment, then we can have an impact on our own performance. How cool is that? So coming back to talking about mind, thought and consciousness in the classroom, there is only mind, really. There is only that greater universal intelligence at work. And there isn't anything for us to do. Do you know, when I first heard about the principles and I was listening, I had no idea what the principles were about. But the essence was that suddenly, after nearly 4 decades of teaching, I didn't have to know everything. I didn't feel that pressure of, You know, that always being on the treadmill, that always, you know, you've got these books to mark, you have to do this assessment, there's a parent that needs to see you, you know, your principal wants to have a meeting about increasing the pace of assessment or increasing the pace in the classroom. And when you're feeling quite light and in a reasonable state of mind, when the psychology of your mind is, you know, and your feelings are tapping into that, and it's fairly neutral, you can manage all of that. You know that because you've done it before. And you know, sometimes when you're in the depth, I call it the bottom of the well, you know, when you're in the pit, when you're down there and you can't find any solutions, it isn't any good looking with your intellect. We are creatures of intellect, we teachers. But you know, I've never been able to work a problem out with my intellect yet. I might be able to work part of it out, if it's a logical thing. But I can't work out the human thing. I need wisdom for that. And wisdom is always there too. Wisdom is that fresh thought, that new thought that comes directly from that greater intelligence, from mind. And it usually comes to me when I'm washing up or driving the car or in the shower, or when I least expect it. When I'm not lost in the content of all my thinking about the day, what I've got to do, how much marking, how much assessing, when I've got to prepare for lessons, I've got to pick up the groceries, you know, I haven't done the housework for I don't know how long. All of that can come in and pile up layer upon layer, can't it? So when thinking about state of mind in the classroom, it's about having an understanding, a peace, some hope. I almost see it as a metaphor of a chink of light coming into a very darkened room, so that you may not be able to see the whole picture yet, the whole picture of this understanding. You may not be able to see the whole room when the chink of light comes in, but you know it's there. And it brings hope. And it brings clarity. And it brings ease, because you're not fretting about, you don't feel you're stuck forever in this angst, in this worry, in this career that seems to be piling in on top of you. Because it's only your thinking. It's only your thinking that you're stuck in. And fresh thought will come along. And that isn't anything to do with us. Fresh thinking comes along all the time. I know this because most of my career I was unaware of the three principles. And yet I found wisdom. Not always. And I wasn't always aware of it. But looking back with hindsight, I can see times when my wisdom just appeared. Just seemed to be there. Which it always is, all along. So state of mind is not a thing. The three principles are not a thing. They are universal constants. They're always there. Like the sun in the sky, like gravity. They're always there. They're working the whole time. And as you gain a greater understanding of the three principles, you will have your own metaphor, your own way of describing how they are in your life, so that you can share them with other teachers, with your family, with your friends. Not as principles, not as I'm doing with you, but whatever way comes to mind in that moment. Because this is about being present, being really present to that wisdom, to mind, to that universal intelligence. Getting out of our own way. We don't often do that. I know I don't. Getting out of our own way. And just having that understanding that nothing's permanent, it's organic, it's living, it's moving, it's changing, and somebody else is in charge, not us.